Happy Hump Day, everyone. Welcome into Morning Invest on this Wednesday, March 10th. I'm Clayton Morris. So glad to see you guys. It's our little pre-show. Hope everyone's doing well. Let me know where you're joining us from today in the chat. Drop us a line there. Did you guys get your morning newsletter? I'm eating like a baguette this morning for breakfast. I was tempting David in this place down the street makes this hot bread and chorizo. Oh, so fantastic.
Yeah, it looks delicious.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, everyone. We're going to have a big stimulus update today. Do you mind if I eat in front of you? It's your stimulus update today. Today on the stimulus, we're going to be actually bringing it to the House floor. So today is the day. Actually going to have a vote on the stimulus on the House floor. Finally, it's here. So what is next? Well, we're going to talk about some of the, the checks, getting the checks out to people, getting that child tax credit out to people. What about that rental assistance? A lot of this stuff has been delayed, and a lot of it comes down to the IRS. Yesterday, the White House was asked about, is the IRS going to be able to handle this? And they're like, we hope so. We don't know. So can the IRS handle getting these checks out? We'll see. I'm not too confident about the IRS. And then in keeping them honest this morning, we're going to look at Democrats dropping the ball on the minimum wage. They have a day. They have the opportunity today to hold their feet, hold Congress's feet to the fire and get this thing passed. Get $15 an hour minimum wage. But our Democrats just didn't want to get any kind of minimum wage, and that's exactly what they wanted. It was a ploy all along. So we'll look at that this morning. Good to see everyone. Good to see everyone in our chat room, our control booth. David's out in the control booth. We were just talking lights here, and I'm getting some different things set up. So I finally got one of the pieces of furniture. Now that the TV will arrive, I'm going to put that up soon.
Yep, it's a work in progress, but it's coming together. I'm liking it. Although it looks like you have the lights on, the overhead lights today.
I do. Should I turn them off?
I think it looks better with it off.
All right, you guys let me know in the chat. I'm going to get up and turn them off.
Okay, so we'll do like Grover. Near, far. But we're doing with lights. On, off. That's off. I think I like off.
How's it look?
I like that look.
Better?
Yeah. Jennifer loves them on. CJ off. Arlene off. LOL off. Yeah, give that in.
I'm going to consult all of you guys for my lighting choices from now on. At night, I'm just going to go live on YouTube, and I'll just send out and Twitch and Facebook, and I'll send a message out to all you guys like, hey, I'm thinking about reading in bed tonight. Should I lower the lights? What do you think here?
Real lights or candlelight?
Yeah. It's funny how late we stay up now because of artificial light. Back in the day, you had candlelight. It got dark outside. You had some dinner, and you'd read and go to bed. And now we keep ourselves awake all night, with the blue light from TV screens and computer screens and all of this stuff. No wonder we're all sleep deprived.
Well, there's a hotel. It's an Airbnb in Arenal, Costa Rica, where they actually have no electricity. So when the sun goes down, you don't have lights. So you go to bed.
I like that. You know what I wanted to do? Here was an idea that I had. Let me know your thoughts on this. I was obsessed with this idea for a couple of years. I've told my wife about it. I don't know that she would ever go with me to this place I don't know if it existed anywhere. I wanted to create sort of like Westworld before Westworld even existed. This idea of like a small little saloon town. It's like a Wild West, like a Western version, like a real Western town,
like Tombstone,
Deadwood, South Dakota. Yeah, something like that, where you have like a restaurant or two, like a saloon. You have hiking trails and horse trails, but it's there's no electricity, and it's totally authentic to like 1862 or something like that, and you stay in the inn, you show up, they bring you by horse carriage or whatever, and you show up at the inn and you can play poker,
Man, I would love that.
All by candlelight. Eat a stew. Like, here's your bowl of stew. If that's what you eat. Here's your piece of toast for breakfast. Now, hit the trail. We're looking for gold today. I would love to do that for a few days.
Heck yeah.
You got to take a bath in like a big thing where they just pour hot water into it. Who'd be down with that? Let me know.
I would for sure.
Yeah, I'd be down with that. Now we're going to start the show in just a few minutes. I hope everyone's doing well. Grover's been trying to find his place. I took him on a long hike this morning. So he's a little worn out. It's a little, he was running like crazy. He was driving me crazy, where I was like trying to put together like a table last night, and he was just like climbing on me, and like, I'm like, come on, man, I got to get you some exercise. Gary Giordano says, nope, I would not be into that. Arlene says, maybe just for a weekend. Isn't that funny how spoiled we are? No, we need our internet. We need our electricity. Get your super chats in now. We'll be answering your super chats towards the end of the show. I love our community here. Althea Bryant is drinking coffee out of my Grover cup this morning. Awesome. Kate T says, yes, I'd go, but I'd want to play poker and not be the saloon girl. Yes, Kitty Jones, we moved to our new place and our new studio, so we've been, knee deep in boxes and doing the whole move. It's been kind of crazy. Bonnie, good to see you, Bonnie. Bonnie says, oh, I've missed you guys. And Grover, well, we've missed you, Bonnie. Where have you been? Macarena FS says, I'm drinking a cafe con leche. It's what my wife loves to drink, cafe con leche. I drink a cafe preto, so black. Arlene Maro says, I would be a saloon girl. Saloon girl. By the way, what does it mean to be a saloon girl?
I think that just means one of the ladies that walks around and entertains the guests, the clientele.
I like those saloon outfits. I know that.
Piano in the corner.
Another whiskey over here.
Kind of like the Three Amigos.
Right. What's tequila? Oh, it's like beer. Don't go getting into no trouble, no?
We only have tequilas.
Tequilas. Oh, what's tequila? Oh, it's like beer. Don't go getting into no trouble now. What did he say? Don't go getting into no My wife can do the My Little Buttercup dance pretty well.
Really? That's awesome. I think there should be a video made of that.
Barkeep. I think David would be a good barkeep. You got the beard for it.
Yeah.
You'd need like the white shirt with like the sleeve rolled up thing, over here.
I'm a good listener.
Can I get you?
And I'm great with a rag, wiping counters.
Yeah. I'd come in as the sheriff.
It's one thing though. As long as if as a barkeep I don't have to clean out spittoons, I'd be good.
Yeah, I would not want to. Spittoon, that is like the grossest thing in the world. Like underneath the countertop, there's a bucket, a spittoon that like just people are like, what was it in Blazing Saddles where they would spit? You'd hear that like,
yeah, the ding,
ding, like like a BB gun hitting the thing, everything.
Blazing Saddles.
I love Western movies. I had a Western film class in college because I love Westerns, and I was a film student, University of Pittsburgh, when I first went to college, so I have an affinity for that look and feel of a Western. Hey everybody, welcome into Morning Invest on this Wednesday. It is Stimulus Day today around the Hacienda. Pull up a bar stool, kick back. We're going to look at how well this thing will be rolled out. Of course, today is the day the House gets to vote on this thing. It's finally here.
Let's get stimulated.
Grab a comfy chair. Let's get stimulated. We've been waiting. Took us 40 days, 50 days or so to finally get this Biden thing that was supposed to pass like in a week, right? Give us your vote and we'll see stimulus checks next week. You might have forgotten, Joe, since you worked with Congress for 36 years, that stuff, moves like molasses in Congress. So when will these checks come? We're going to talk about that. Guess what, though? It all comes down to the IRS. Can they handle it? Jen Psaki was asked that question yesterday, and she said, yeah, we think they got it.
We're pretty sure.
So we're pretty sure, because the IRS doesn't screw anything up. We didn't see them screw up multiple times during the last rollout of these COVID bills. So again, the child tax credit piece of this, the implementation of rental assistance, all of these things. The IRS is in the hot seat this morning. And then coming up in keeping them honest, Democrats dropped the ball on the minimum wage. Gone. Bye-bye. $15 an hour minimum wage. So what kind of minimum wage did we get? Nothing. And guess what? It could be exactly what they wanted. So we'll keep them honest today. We're going to look at what the progressives could do to hold the feet to the fire today before this thing comes up for a final vote. All of that and more on the show today. Get your super chats in now. We're going to be answering your questions at the end of the show. Any questions you have on the stimulus, finances, stocks, crypto, I don't care. We'll take it all. Send them in now.
Forrest
So
Gump
welcome to the Morning
impressions.
Invest. Forrest Gump impressions. I will do Forrest Gump impressions if you want. Those look like comfortable shoes. The only morning show is our show that's not run by corporate billionaires. And if you want to support independent journalism and support our show, you can do so for free by simply subscribing to our free daily newsletter. That's right, it's totally free. Simply go to morninginvest.com, put in your email address like Grover is doing right here, and it supports our show. You'll receive a newsletter first thing in the morning every day, Monday through Friday. We cover the stories you won't see covered in other places. So thank you so much for subscribing. We had a couple hundred new people sign up yesterday. Hopefully we brought you some value this morning with our newsletter as it hit your inbox this morning. So much love to all of you. All right, we're going to get to the news here in a second, but I do want to tell you about our friends over at Babbel. So that's how you say good morning, Portuguese. Say bom dia. Bom dia, tudo bem? You okay? Everything good? Bom dia. If you didn't know that, you would if you started taking classes with Babbel. And guess what? You can learn that for free. It's the #1 selling language learning app. One of my goals for the new year was to learn a new language and get better at it. Babbel has made the whole process addictively fun and easy with bite-sized little chunks that you can do in the real world. You can just be taking a walk. You can do them for a few minutes. They're 15-minute lessons. Makes it the perfect way to sort of take your Babbel lessons, to the next level. So I, take a walk with the dog, you do it, maybe sitting down at lunch, doesn't matter. You can do it anywhere. Babbel designs their courses with practical, real-world conversations in mind, things you'll actually use in real everyday life, like where's the bathroom? Oh, I'm sorry. Desculpa. Excuse me. Desculpa. Sorry. Hola. Oi. Tudo bem? How's it going? These are real world conversations, right? You want to do Spanish, German. I've taken the German one as well because I like German. I had German in high school or junior high school, and I wanted to get better at German. We've got some German friends came to visit, so I thought it was a perfect opportunity to brush up on my German. So their teaching method is fantastic. Right now, when you purchase 3 months of Babbel, as your subscription, you're going to get an additional 3 months for free. And you can do it right on your smartphone, your iPad, anywhere. It's fantastic. That's 6 months for the price of 3. Just go to Babbel.com, use the promo code INVEST. That's Babbel.com, code INVEST for an extra 3 months free. Babbel, language for life. Boa tarde. All right, let's talk about your stimulus news now. We've got a big update today because today is the day, folks. All eyes on Congress. They're set to give the final green light to the $1.9 trillion coronavirus stimulus package today. And this would set in motion, of course, another round of political lifting, a Washington-wide effort right now to try to get these checks and things out to the American people. It's going to be the largest, arguably one of the largest economic relief packages in U.S. history. By the way, I looked at the numbers this morning. 5.5 trillion with this package. That's more than we spent in World War II. Can you imagine? We spent about 4 trillion to fight World War II, to beat the Nazis and Imperial Japan. 4 trillion. This total, because of the pandemic, is over 5 trillion. And much of that, of course, went to big businesses and corporations. So finally, we're getting some rescue for, the little guy, people who aren't the big businesses, the billionaire corporations. So over the coming weeks, the Biden administration is going to send out another round of one-time checks to millions of families. They're going to basically re-examine huge portions of the U.S. tax code and giving out millions of dollars to cash-strapped Americans. But of course, all of them, it's not like they're sitting there just kicking their feet up. Millions of Americans right now without jobs. And they're falling further behind financially. I saw emails from some of you that said, look, even this drop from $400 in weekly unemployment benefits down to $300 is going to, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I was counting on that $400 with my apartment and my rent. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I feel you. And I think Democrats could have gone larger on this. I think they kowtowed to Republicans and moderates in the party. We'll talk about that coming up in a minute. But Biden and his aides have promised that a large number of Americans could receive their $1,400 stimulus checks before the end of March. So that's the timeline that we're hearing from the White House, before the end of March. So if this thing is signed on Sunday by President Biden, if it becomes law on Sunday, then boom, it's off to the races. Because then the IRS has to get those printing presses ready to go. But some of the other more ambitious elements of this soon-to-be law, the child tax support, and all the money going to local governments, and the monies to help families pay rent. Unfortunately, I'm here to bring you some bad news. That could take much longer to roll out. So again, child tax credit money for rental assistance, and state and local governments. So if you are a state and local government employee, you've been waiting on that aid, maybe to get back to work, whether you work at an unemployment office, you work in sanitation, you work at the police department, fire departments, library, all of those things, could take much longer to roll out, unfortunately. They have the sheer volume of these new programs right now is going to threaten federal agencies, according to reports this morning. So we're all sort of jubilant about this idea of this program. That's great. How are we going to make it happen? How are we going to actually put this thing together? At the heart of this is the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS. Your favorite building, your favorite federal agency, and mine, the IRS. The IRS is like, I don't know. I can name one place I would not want to work. And that's the IRS. Anybody watching right now in our stream work for the IRS or previously worked for the IRS? Drop us a chat right now. I'd love to know, like, what kind of chaos is unfolding over at the IRS right now. Because lawmakers there are scared. They're scared about early delays to this thing. Look, I was a history major. If you don't study history, you're doomed to repeat it. Well, we've now had, this will be the 6th COVID relief package. 6th, okay? And some of them were smaller, but this is going to be the 6th one. Every time we've had a COVID relief package, the IRS has basically screwed things up. They've sent checks to dead people. They sent wrong amounts to people. They sent checks to the wrong account numbers for no reason. And then instead of redistributing checks again, they said, oh, we'll just give you a tax credit. So next year on your taxes, you'll get a $600 credit. No, people need that money now. So IRS, I would not want to be the head of the IRS this morning. No vacation for you. So again, early delay is big concern at the IRS. These aid packages adopted over the past year have proved instrumental, of course, in helping the country rebound from this crisis. We've seen the data, but all of the bureaucracy that's been involved in this has been strained. And it's screwed things up at a time when we can't afford, like, it's great to have this legislation pass, but then if you don't have the implementation in way to dole this out, we're screwed. So here's an example, the rental assistance. How many of you have received the rental assistance? Let me know in the chat below. How many of you have gotten any kind of rental assistance, landlord assistance, utility bill payments, any of that? The $25 billion that President Trump passed, they passed back in December before he left office. $25 billion. I was ecstatic about it. I thought that's hugely important, $25 billion. You know, it's supposed to help workers, businesses pay their bills. Guess what? They haven't yet. It hasn't even come online yet. Did you hear me? This was passed in December, and it hasn't even happened yet. It hasn't even gone on the internet yet. It hasn't even come to fruition where people are getting these payments. This was supposed to keep people in their homes during the heart of the winter. And it was passed in December. What's going on? Yes, we had a transition of power between two administrations. Where's the accountability on this? Why aren't we holding hearings on this? These people are losing their homes. So if I don't look like I'm terribly confident in these bureaucracies, it's because I'm not. Ron Wyden of Oregon, the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, he tweeted there, he released this statement. He said, implementation is the ball game. It's the total ball game. He said, you can have the best priorities in the world, he said, whether it's the well-being of children or the needs of those who've been laid off at no fault of their own. He said, it doesn't mean a whole lot, though, if you can't get the benefits out to people to make ends meet. Yeah. So there's a couple of big challenges ahead, and they reflect really the high stakes that are facing Biden right now. And he's about to sign this on Sunday. President's economic agenda and political legacy are really tied to this trajectory of this recovery. And it's heavily dependent upon the ability of the federal government to get this stuff done over the next few months. And a lot of that's really, I mean, in some ways out of his hands. We have the infrastructure we have. The budget that's allocated for these particular departments, I know the IRS hired like an additional 4,000 people to answer the phone during over the summer when it was a total disaster. People couldn't get answers. They're like, where's my stimulus check? It didn't show up. I don't know. I mean, the rental relief piece of this is just a total example. I mean, the U.S. government started working to deliver this money to cash-strapped tenants and landlords after lawmakers voted last year. But all of the government rules are so confusing. So like local infrastructure, they don't know how to get this money out to people. They're literally like, these rules are so complex. We don't know what we're doing. Then you had the Trump changeover to Biden administration. So most of that $25 billion in aid hasn't gone out to anyone yet. Seems like a mistake, right? Nevertheless, I don't want to rain on a parade here. I'm just warning you. I'm trying not to rain on a parade. I'm sorry if I am, but I'm trying to warn you that we're trying to be jubilant about this massive package. It's one thing that Congress can sign it. They sign it. They're like, here you go, IRS. Now you run off and make it happen. Get these checks out to people. And the IRS is like, it's tax season. We're in the middle of taxes. You want us to also print millions of dollars in checks? We got to deal with refunds. And there's a whole lot of questions, too, on the IRS. One big piece of this, many of you have asked this question. It's like, well, wait a second. What if I filed my taxes already for 2020? My 2020 tax return, I've already gotten it in. How will that affect me? We still don't know the answer to that. And the IRS right now is trying to grapple with how to deal with somebody who's already sent in their taxes for the year versus somebody who hasn't, and they're going to base it on last year's returns. So there's a lot of questions about this yet we still don't have answers to. Hopefully in the next 24, 48 hours we will, as we'll start to get more information from the White House about how they're going to handle that question and others. But again, I don't want to rain on any parades. Nancy Pelosi was over the moon about it, like almost crying how happy she was that this is about to be signed.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited, I just can't hide it. The Rules Committee just finished its work, and now we'll make preparation for bringing this important American Rescue Plan to the floor of the House. It is so exciting, as you know, because of what it does. Vaccines in the arms of the American people, money in their pockets, children safely in school, workers safely back to work. It's a remarkable, historic, transformative piece of legislation which goes a very long way to crushing the virus and solving our economic crisis.
She went on to say that she thinks this is bigger than even the Affordable Care Act. It might even be bigger than the Affordable Care Act in its scope and how it could help Americans. Yes. And I will say that there are huge pieces of this that I think are absolutely transformative. The child tax credit piece is transformative. But again, the issue is the implementation. We don't know how late in the spring or in the summer when those child tax credits would be rolled out. According to reports this morning, the first priority is the checks, is the $1,400 stimulus checks. The rental assistance, child tax credit, state and local monies, all of that will come later. And we're not exactly sure when. So if you're wondering that you're going to start to see a child tax credit check show up in your inbox or in your mailbox next week, that's not going to happen. The earliest we may see direct stimulus checks is at the end of this month, those $1,400 checks. So again, I will be updating you tonight. So make sure you subscribe to our channel. Turn on that little bell notification. Tonight, I'll be back at 9 p.m. Eastern time with an update on this passage. We'll see about any more language and updated time on those stimulus checks. We'll have that for you tonight as well. So we've got a lot more news to get to here on the show today, and I want to make sure that we cover some of the other big issues today, which is this $15 an hour minimum wage. So this is coming up for a vote today. So I want to keep Democrats honest. This is coming for a vote today on the House floor. Now, Democrats have an opportunity, and I think they totally dropped the ball, and I think we need to hold them accountable for rolling over for this Senate parliamentarian. I saw this little meme and I thought it was perfect. You know, it may explain why Democrats aren't really talking much about this minimum wage at all. We did it, Joe. That parliamentarian scam worked perfectly, Kamala. Kind of feels like that's what it is, doesn't it? Like that's what happened here. Like it was a total sham. Like they just put it on the backs of this parliamentarian and then nothing else happened as a result. We didn't pass any kind of $11, $12, nothing. We're stuck at $7.25 an hour. And now we're left with the idea that we now have to work with Republicans at a 60 vote threshold in order to pass minimum wage. Who are you going to work with? By the way, Senator Josh Hawley, Senator Josh Hawley, he has talked about wanting to increase the minimum wage. Okay, great. So Democrats going to work with Josh Hawley on minimum wage increases? Bernie Sanders has been sort of defeated on this whole thing. But I was struck by this tweet from Bernie Sanders just yesterday. Thank you to the Congressional Progressive Caucus for their extraordinary effort in passing the American Rescue Plan, which is the most significant legislation for working people in the modern history of this country. Without them, this bill is not possible. So he's thanking the very people that he wanted to make sure were on board to pass a $15 an hour minimum wage. Where is the $15 an hour minimum wage that you fought so hard for? Here's Robert Reich, former labor secretary under Clinton, whom I like a lot. I'm trying to get him on the show, by the way. Robert says, our rigged system in a nutshell. The Senate needs 60 votes to raise the minimum wage for regular people, but only 51 votes to pass a $1.9 trillion tax cut for corporations and the super rich. By the way, these are the senators that obstructed the passage of the $15 an hour living wage for Americans. $15 an hour living wage for Americans. Joe Manchin, Senator Sinema. By the way, all of them are millionaires. All of them millionaires. So why are we standing up for this? Like, why didn't President Biden go to bat for it? Why didn't President Biden overrule the parliamentarian? Say, that's fine. I'm glad you feel that way. We're going in a different direction. Again, he's got the political capital right now. And I think he's squandering a huge portion of it to get meaningful change at the progressive level, getting meaningful change to help millions get out of poverty. So Ron Klain was asked that question yesterday. The team over at Punchbowl did an interesting interview with Ron Klain. He's President Biden's chief of staff, and he was pressed on this issue on the minimum wage. I thought they did a great job. I thought the team did a great job pressing him to get some answers on this. They didn't let him walk over them.
And do big things to help this country. That's what the American Rescue Plan is. It's a massive effort to beat this virus and to get our economy moving again. We spent a year fighting this virus from behind with half measures, without a national strategy, without the resources to implement that national strategy. We are where we are. So President Biden, even before he became president, put this plan in front of the country and said, this is what I need to crush the virus, to get the economy moving. We're thrilled that Congress, in less than 50 days, has taken this large package and has passed it pretty much intact, the way the president asked for it. I think it's a very significant piece of legislation. It helps with our fight against COVID. It helps the middle class. It'll help us get our schools open. It reduces child poverty, helps small business, helps veterans, helps lower people's health insurance premiums, all the things we need to do to turn this economy and this country around.
One thing that did fall out of the bill was the $15 minimum wage. What is your plan to get a minimum wage hike approved? I know it is a huge priority for progressives. Do you think the president would be open to less than $15 if it would mean getting to a deal?
Well, look, our focus, Anna, is on the fight for 15. President Biden endorsed that during the campaign. He campaigned on it. That's what we're going to work on. We're going to talk to our allies. We're going to talk to Democrats and hopefully even some Republicans in the Senate about how to do that. The Raise the Wage Act, the principal vehicle for that, does phase in over time. I think it's a 5 or 6 year phase in. So we're going to look at how we can get this thing passed. You know, people should, as the president likes to say, people should not work full time and be in poverty. We need to raise the minimum wage.
So I'm going to push you a little bit on that there, because I can tell you that, I mean, I have not found any Republicans who are willing to raise it to 15. Maybe they exist. Maybe your persuasive powers will get them out of the woodwork. But I mean, is no minimum wage increase better? I mean, isn't it better to get something? Because as you said, it phases in, right? I mean, it gets to 11, I think, after a year, and then upward from there. I mean, that's better, presumably, to get some people something at the front end.
Well, look, Jake, our position is the minimum wage should be $15. That is what we stand for, phased in over time. That's what we're going to fight for. And so, obviously, we had a...
You're going to fight for it? What does that look like?
I don't think their definition of fight is the same as ours. It's like, I don't think that means what you think it means.
Right. Like if you have a position in an argument, I don't know about you, but like, you know, if I'm arguing with my wife or my kids about something, like I'm digging my heels in, like I'm going to fight for that, my belief in something. I'm going to stand up, you know, no, we're going to do it this way because it makes sense. And we're going to fight for it. So a Senate, like I don't take no for an answer. Like, you know, I hit roadblocks in my business all the time and I always find a way around it, you know? And so if I hear that the Senate parliamentarian is not going to let us bring this to the floor, and it's just a recommendation from the Senate parliamentarian, like it's not law, it's just a Senate staffer telling us that they don't think that this should be included in the budget reconciliation process. Okay, thank you for your recommendation. I'm going to the mat over this. I'm going to push for this. Use your political capital. Push, push, push. That's fighting. So we're going to continue to fight. I thought I laughed out loud at that part.
Procedural problem with doing it on this bill. Now we need to go back to the drawing board, come up with a legislative strategy that moves that forward, and that's what we're going to do.
So,
okay. So what? We're going to go back to the drawing board now. In the meantime, we have no minimum wage. Progressives have spent more time on Twitter than they have actually fighting for this thing. It's like they've all gone quiet. Like, where's the push? You're in the House of Representatives. The vote comes up today. Add an amendment. Will any of them stand up today and add an amendment to the House vote that calls for a $15 an hour minimum wage? Force it to go back to the Senate? I don't know. I mean, is that political suicide right now? Trying to delay COVID relief just so you can get your $15 an hour minimum wage? Or is it that important? What do you guys think in the chat? Here's Cori Bush said this: a vote against a $15 an hour minimum wage is a vote to keep people in poverty. That was not a moderate vote. That was not a conservative vote. That no vote in the Senate was an oppressive vote. So she thinks it's oppressive. It's subjugation. It's keeping people down. Okay, Cori Bush, you're a member of the squad. Okay, you're a progressive. Okay, that's a good tweet. Here's a response. So if you truly believe this, as someone writes, then you know what needs to be done. You and the other members of the squad will need to vote no on the House bill. Unless you play hardball with the establishment, they will keep yielding to the likes of Manchin and Sinema. Ouch. I mean, that sums it up perfectly right there, doesn't it? Here's another person responding to Robert Reich. Excuse me. Do you remember that $15 an hour minimum wage vote? I sure do. When are the Democrats who now run things in the Senate going to do anything but market themselves as being better than what we had? Here's Ilhan Omar, sat down with Breonna Keeler over at the old CNN. Just first of all, I loved, I don't know why. I mean, they once in a while give progressives a platform, but just watch this Breonna Keeler's face when Ilhan Omar basically says that this COVID bill is a disappointment. Watch her face. She's like, "You're on CNN. You can't say that. Biden's king. This is fantastic."
We obviously are now ultimately sending money to less people than the Trump administration and the Senate majority Republicans were willing to. There are going to be about 17 million people who will get less money. This is not the promise that we made. This is not why we are given the opportunity to be in the majority in the Senate and have the White House. And so ultimately it is, a failure when we compromise ourselves out of delivering on behalf of the American people and keeping our promises.
A failure. Look at her face. She's like, "You can't say that. You can't say that on CNN." Nate Silver asked the question over at the 538 blog. He said, "I just can't understand why, we didn't get the $15 an hour minimum wage. Why didn't we push for something smaller? Why didn't we push for at least, an 11 or 12 or something? Now we're left with still the $7.25 an hour. And by the way, we need 60 votes in order to pass this. Who's going to jump on board? We're going to be stuck at $7.25 an hour. What sort of other plan do you guys have? Do you have anything else in your toolbox right now?" Going through Bernie's tweets, I haven't seen any outrage about it. This is the last thing I saw, thank the Congressional Progressive Caucus for their extraordinary effort in passing the American Rescue Plan. It's like he's fallen in line. Where's the outrage, Bernie? You're the one leading the charge for $15 an hour minimum wage. The reason you said you would support President Biden after you conceded is that he promised you a $15 an hour minimum wage. So Ron Klain can go out there on television and in interviews and say that all he wants, that they're going to fight for it. When? Isn't now the perfect time to fight for this? The reason that I'm calling for this and for them to fight for this is because there's very little other opportunity for them to pass this. Very little. I mean, you're literally watching, like trying to hold water in your hand, and it's just slipping through your fingers. That's what's happening right now. I mean, unless I'm wrong, unless there's something I don't understand about the process. But I've covered Washington a long time to know that there's no way Republicans are going to support a $15 an hour minimum wage on a bipartisan bill giving 60 votes for $15. It's not going to happen. We might get $11. We might get $12. And even that is still a poverty wage when all the numbers show us that even a $15 an hour minimum wage is poverty level, right at the poverty level in the United States. And that's today, 2021. Never mind the fact that this thing was supposed to phase in over the next 4 to 5 years. So by the year 2025.
What is that, basically 30 grand a year? Is that what that works out to?
I don't know. Is it even less than that? Like if you're working 40 hours, let's just do the math, boss. I'm looking it up right now. So if you're working 40 hours a week, yeah, you're right, around 31,000 before taxes.
I mean, how is that not poverty level right now?
It is. That's the thing. I mean, it is poverty level.
I mean,
And,
imagine
you
what
know,
that
we
is in
can't
New
pass
York or Chicago or LA.
Yeah, and with the rising cost of gas, rising cost of eggs, milk. Robert Reich is right. Senate needs 60 votes to raise the minimum wage for regular people, but only 51 votes to pass a $1.9 trillion tax cut for corporations and the super rich. I'll tell you what the other alternative is here, Robert. It's to get rid of the filibuster. Hold Joe Manchin's feet to the fire and get rid of the filibuster so that you can actually get some meaningful legislation accomplished here that doesn't have to fall under the reconciliation process where you need the simple majority in a budgetary process. Get rid of the filibuster. And yes, Democrats will be in the minority at some point again. And I don't care. That's the price you pay for losing elections, right? Get rid of the filibuster. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Drop me a comment below. We've got to hold their feet to the fire. I think this is an important moment for us to see what they can do in the Senate. I mean, I would love to see if one member of the squad stands up. I mean, really all they need is I think 5 to stand up and say, we want to pass an amendment. We're going to hold this up. They could be heroes as a result of it. Get minimum wage put back in this bill. Have it and get it then sent over back to the Senate and have the Senate say, all right, fine, we're supporting this thing. And pass it, disregarding what the Senate parliamentarian has to say about it. Who cares what the Senate parliamentarian has to say about it? A non-elected staff member who's going to give you advice on this? Show some ganas and get this thing passed. Or you have to listen to more excuses from Ron Klain.
And on that point, so you're governing with a Congress with Bernie Sanders and Joe Manchin. One thing we've liked to say in Punchbowl News as frequently as we can is Joe Manchin's vote is as important as Bernie Sanders, or perhaps even more important. I wonder if you have any reflections, here we are 50 days in, on what it's like governing a Democratic caucus in the Senate with Bernie Sanders and Joe Manchin.
Well, Jake, it's funny. I mean, I'm a longtime Senate staffer. I love senators. I love Senator Sanders. I love Senator Manchin, and I enjoy my conversations with both of them. They obviously have very different points of view. But what I will say is that all our Democrats in the Senate, and I hope even more and more Republicans, recognize this country needs action to beat this virus, to deal with this economic crisis, and to go from there. So I'm happy to work with any senator in either party that wants to help President Biden move this country forward. Senator Sanders was incredibly helpful on passing this rescue package. Obviously, as the chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, he was a key player in bringing this package to the floor through the reconciliation process. And of course, Senator Manchin was also critical to delivering those final votes to get us over the hump. There were a lot of senators who played key roles, starting with Senator Schumer, obviously as the...
So, by the way, Senator Joe Manchin was not critical. He was critical, technically critical, and was not going to vote for it. You basically had to kowtow to Senator Manchin. You had to basically lower the threshold on the bill for him to vote for it. He wasn't bringing additional votes from anywhere. He's a Democrat. You have a 50-50 break in the Senate with a majority with Kamala Harris. So you basically had to lower what you wanted to accomplish working with Joe Manchin. More excuses. But at the end of the day, we have a massive progressive package that's about to pass today in the House. Is it perfect? No. I'm a glass half full kind of person, so I'm trying to be positive. There's plenty in this thing to love. The rental assistance, help for state and local governments, stimulus checks, the child tax credit is again, transformative. But minimum wage, this is your opportunity to make meaningful change to bring even more people out of poverty in this country and stand by your convictions. If you're Cori Bush and you get out there and you say this stuff, we've seen interview after interview in AOC, why are you all quiet right now? You're all quiet. A vote against a $15 minimum wage is a vote to keep people in poverty. It was a vote. Senate was an oppressive vote. The no vote was an oppressive vote. Okay, so do something about it. I saw someone in the chat just saying, is it worth it though, Clayton, to delay the unemployment benefits? Because by any kind of delay, there's going to be unemployment benefits lapse, and you'll have a space in it. Great point. However, according to the data that I'm looking at this morning, there's already going to be a lapse. Unfortunately, even them hitting that 14th deadline of March with President Biden signing it on Sunday, there's still going to be a lapse in that turnover period of getting. So I want you to be prepared for that. You might be a week or even 2 of unemployment benefits lapse, and it has nothing to do with the minimum wage. It's already going to happen, according to reports I'm reading this morning. So prepare for that. It could be that they might get it in, but it looks like there's going to be a delay, unfortunately. So let me know your thoughts on that in the chat below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop us some super chats as well. We'll be answering your questions in a moment. Hey, I have one news by the number today. So much else going on with the stimulus and everything else today, and the minimum wage that I have one that I thought was kind of important to tell you about. So here's your news by the number today. Your only news by the number, and that number is 47%. 47%. That's the percentage of Americans who believe that when I tell you to subscribe to a podcast, that if you hear the word subscribe, do most of you think that subscribe means you're going to? Let me know in the chat below if you're one of those people. But when people hear the word subscribe, they think, oh, I'm going to have to pay for that, right? Because we've been so drilled into thinking I'm going to subscribe to Sports Illustrated, I'm going to subscribe to Time Magazine, I'm going to have to pay $12 a year, whatever it is, So Apple announcing that they are changing the way that you can subscribe, quote unquote, to podcasts. So no longer will you be subscribing to podcasts, you'll be following podcasts. This was a big change. Where's that screen here? Why isn't it popping up here? So now the new language inside of the podcast player, it'll say follow. And they're estimated that millions more people will take advantage of podcasts and start listening to podcasts if they realize they're free. 47% believe that you have to pay for them. Spotify has already switched to a follow model. I think Audible is now follow. A lot of the big Stitcher is follow your favorite podcast. And I think it could tremendously help. I would think hopefully it'll help our show a lot, because we have a podcast. Many people don't even know that we have a podcast. We have an audio version of our podcast. You can listen on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, but it's free. It's an audio version of our show. And you can subscribe or follow us in your favorite podcast player, but it's totally free. Just go to Morning Invest on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or iHeartRadio or wherever else you want to listen to it. I thought that's funny, though. I have to think, a lot of times I've said, hey, go listen to our podcast, subscribe to our podcast. People are like, how much is it? It's free.
Well, and that's the thing with YouTube. We all say go sub to our YouTube channel. I mean, if you go sub on Twitch, subbing on Twitch is paid. Subbing on, most places is paid. You subscribe to the Washington Post or whatever. It's a monthly subscription.
How many of you are subscribed to our YouTube channel right now? If you're watching on YouTube, how many of you are subscribed? It's free. We do this show every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. How many of you are subscribed? Just smash that like button. Let us know if you are subscribed. You can set an alert. We do our show twice a day. We have our night side edition, as well as our live show every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Let's see. Jamie says, Clayton, with all respect, you are coming from a place of supporting but not needing the stimulus. People need that money now, and holding it up with a pie in the sky $15 an hour is hurting people today. Okay. Well said, Jamie, but with all due respect, there are millions of people that will be left in poverty, and delaying a stimulus check by 5 days or 4 days, if that's in fact what would happen, and I'm not even certain that that's what even happened. The IRS is already ramping up to print these things next week and get them out through direct deposit as soon as they can by the end. By adding in a $15 an hour phase-in minimum wage to this bill is not going to change anything. It's not. Let's open it up to some super chats here. Let's see.
All right, we got 9 new members as well. Juno Com, new member. LB with a $2 super chat. Macarena FS and Alyssa Cusano, new members. Thank you. Craig Tab, $5. Any word on the EIDL grant for those who didn't get the full amount?
The EIDL grant, good question. That's been a huge issue. Talk about another, another cluster, the injury disaster loans. Are you talking about the one in the CARES Act, or are you talking about like any sort of new EIDL loans? The $10,000 SBA grant. That's so sad. By the way, we can just give handouts to big businesses and corporations, but we're gonna have to give you the EIDL, SBA, EIDL grant loans that don't need to be repaid, and it's only $10,000. So the second round of stimulus had that $10,000 in it. The one that passed in March, and then those program funds were exhausted back in July, you'll remember, of last summer. So they re-upped it again. So you have to show a couple of things here, right? You have to show that you have more than a 30% reduction in revenue during an 8-week period from March 2020 or later. So you have to show that you've been affected by the pandemic, and that you're in a federally designated low-income community. And you applied for EIDL grant assistance on or before December 27th of 2020. And you have to have less than 300 employees. So in 2021, eligible businesses that received a partial grant for less than $10,000 can apply for the difference. If a business received $2,000 with their EIDL but were eligible for the full $10,000, you can now apply for the remaining $8,000. So it really depends how much you were able to get initially. Like, for instance, in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, the EIDL grant was $1,000 per employee to a maximum up to $10,000 per employee. So now that you didn't receive it, you can now apply for the full benefit for the full $10,000. I hope that helps.
We got
and if, by the way, sorry, I should mention the SBA, the Small Business Administration. If you are eligible for the advance, the SBA is supposed to be reaching out to you via email. So check your email from the Small Business Administration.
Zenith Star 20, $10. Good morning from Oregon. Thank you, Clayton, for bringing us progressive news when no one else has the balls to do it. Keep up the amazing work, and hi to Grover as well.
Hi to you. Thank you so much.
LB, new member. Jody Nicholson, $5. Sounds like you're describing Little House when they moved to the city with the western town.
Oh, I didn't see that. They moved to a city from... That's funny. I would love... Yeah, we're talking about the western town. I would love to do that.
Chit Chat 64 with $1. Thank you. London Magella, $4.99. Hey Clayton, now with the 10-200 tax break, is it going to go towards our tax refund? I'm confused.
The
$10,200
tax break. Not sure. I'm not sure that I know the question properly. I don't want to give you wrong answers. Sorry. If you can clarify.
Elaborate a little bit, London, if you could. BK Dan, $2.
If you're talking about are you talking about the tax waiver for $10,200? If that's what you mean. So that's of your unemployment benefits, the $10,200. But I'm not sure if it's going to go towards your taxes. I don't know if I understand what you mean. It's basically it's going to stop you from getting a surprise tax bill. Basically, the Senate version of the bill that passed on Saturday. Again, this is not final. So today the House votes, and we could see amendments, we could see changes to this, and that's why you got to tune in tonight when I'll have an update tonight. But Senate Democrats agreed to lower the additional unemployment rates from that $400 down to $300. They also have a provision in there, which is that $10,200, which basically says that that unemployment income for those people that made under $150,000, that would waive the taxes on that for up to the $10,200. So you get a tax waiver on the first amount of that. Then beyond that, you're going to pay taxes on it. So $10,200, you get a tax waiver if you're making under $150,000. I hope that makes sense. Again, if you're making under $150,000, you would get a tax waiver for $10,200, which lets you then basically get that unemployment benefits for free, not have to pay taxes on it. And it's untaxable. So I hope that makes sense.
BK Dan, $2. Pets at Morning Invest is kicking back my emails. So BK, try sending one to team@morninginvest.com and see if that gets kicked back as well. Deanna Zacharitz, $4.99. Clayton, please do the Forrest Gump, but saying the lines about a shrimping boat captain and about Bubba. Love.
Oh, I don't know. Sorry, I'll try to look those up.
We got Casa TV, new member. Welcome. Kim Quinn, $5. IRS is doing identity check. Gotta go through hoops to get stimulus. 40 years paying to be put on hold for any payment to me. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Talking Tax, $10. Clayton, check your email under your personal one. I have some information about the $15,000 first-time homebuyer credit. It's from yesterday's question from the super chat sent.
Thank you, John. I did get that. Let's see if I can find that. So, yeah, someone was asking yesterday about the $15,000 first-time homebuyer tax credit. Let me pull it up here. So it's the $15,000 tax credit for first-time homebuyers that would go towards the down payment. There have not been many details yet released by Biden's initial policy focus. So we're likely to see the credit come back. We're unlikely to see that credit come back anytime soon. One issue is that it could cause home prices to rise even more and impact demand, especially for first-time homebuyers who are seeking more affordable homes. So it is a proposal. I get it hasn't been finalized yet then, if previous federal program include incentives for taxpayers to file their tax returns. It's billed as providing an immediate form of down payment assistance. So it hasn't been finalized yet. The idea was that, okay, you're making your down payment, you'd get $15,000 to put towards a down payment from the federal government. But look, real estate is is the area I spend a lot of time in, and we have an affordable housing crisis in this country. We need housing. We need to build more houses. We can't keep up with the demand. We need 20 million houses. And mortgage rates are at an all-time low. Houses are selling in 10 days. I mean, it's amazing how quickly homes are selling, and bidding wars are breaking out in markets that you wouldn't have think you would see bidding wars happening now. So if you're thinking about selling your home, by the way, this month and next month are the two best months to sell a home, March and April. And right now might be probably the best time to sell a home we've seen in years. So thank you, John, for sending that in.
Kelly Nutilla, $2. Thank you. Carol Maciel, new member, upgraded to gold. Thank you. Gina Brown, $5. I already filed and got back my taxes with the child care credit this year. Do I still qualify for child credit of $300 monthly or wait till 2022?
Well, again, we don't know when that's going to roll out, but it could be. I mean, that was the whole first part of my show today. That was the whole first part of my show today, talking about how state and local government money, as well as the child tax credit money, as well as rental assistance money, It's a good question as to when those things will start to roll out. We don't know. The first priority, though, is the stimulus checks. So hopefully they'll have some sort of portal that you can log into and update your information. That's my hope. They'll have some sort of government treasury.gov portal or irs.gov portal. You can go in and change that so they can get those child tax credits out to you this year. Because it expires. I mean, here's the thing. It expires at the end of the year. So it's only this year. They've got to make it permanent. So this is like a one-time thing right now. I'm hoping that they make it permanent. Democrats do. But right now it's,
Kelly Nutilla again with $5. They have those old towns here in Colorado. Some may be for sale. I would love a place like that as long as they have the costumes for the time period. Chit Chat 64, $1. George Shannon, $4.99. Clayton, have a question. I'm on SSR and my wife still works. We file jointly and get the 2 checks, but do I get an extra check for me being on SSR also?
Oh, that's a good question. An extra check. Can you ask me that again?
Yeah. I'm on SSR and my wife still works. We file jointly and get the 2 checks, but do I get an extra check because I'm on SSR?
I don't believe you get an extra check. I think as far as an extra stimulus check, you're only going to get 1 stimulus check.
Sharon Tyler, $2. Taylor, $2. It was, if it was today, why can't he sign it today?
Good question. You know, that's the way that Congress works. They get it signed, then they have to print it out. They have to formalize it. They actually have to put it on like a parchment paper. Literally. They have to put it on a special kind of paper. And then they have to deliver it to the White House for signature. And that takes time. They can try to fast track it all they want, but look, today is Wednesday. So if they pass it tonight, then it goes to the printing process like tomorrow. They could deliver it to him by Friday. Yeah. It's a massive bill, so I don't know. But I think they're going to want to get it done sooner rather than later. They wanted to hit that March 14th deadline, which is Sunday. Hopefully they can get it done tomorrow. But if there are any amendments or anything get held up in the process, it's going to take an extra day or 2. Heck, it took them 2 days just to deliver the Senate version to the House of Representatives. They passed it over the weekend. Why are we just now on Wednesday taking it up in the House of Representatives? Great question.
Okay. Tay Sweet Creations, $4.99. What about the unemployment tax if you filed your 2020 tax already?
The unemployment tax, if you filed your unemployment tax. If you filed your... Yeah, you would then... Well, you mean the $10,200 credit? You would still have access to that. You might need to... You might not be able to get access to it until later on. Do you have a tax accountant that you've worked with? I would talk to that person about it. This is why this is a cluster F right now, because it's in the middle of tax season. So they passed this bill, and some of you have already filed your taxes, and some of you haven't. So it's a matter of, this is why it's just going to add an enormous amount of pressure to the IRS, because so many of you are going to have these questions, and every one of your questions is unique. So this $10,200 tax credit, unemployment credit, yes, you will have access to it. It's a question of whether or not you have to wait till next year, though, to get it on your next year's tax return. But please don't forget about it. A lot of people forgot that they could take this credit. Don't forget about it. And you may be able to file an amendment. So I would talk to your tax accountant about seeing if you can file an amendment. If you're at Jackson Hewitt or somebody else, can they add that in if they haven't already? And by the way, that's a question they should have asked you anyway, or they should have known about it when you did your taxes in the first place.
Sharon Taylor, $2. If it passed today, why? Okay, that already asked that one. Jay Fate, $4.99. Landlord rejected my rental assistance for $3,000 and gave me 30 days to leave. Satan will see him in hell.
Ouch. I'm sorry. Why did he reject you? Unbelievable.
Bag of Donuts, new member. Welcome. Althea Bryant, $5. Did you get my photo of me holding my Grover cup? Thanks for reading my comments this morning. It made me smile.
I'll have to check in with my team on that. They're updating our new files with our viewer photos. So yes, if you have a picture with your Grover mug or any other sweatshirt or anything like that, please send them in to us at team@morninginvest.com. Let me see if I have any updated viewer photos while you're continuing here.
Lewis Cooper, new member, thank you. Crystal Lambert, $5. What if we already filed taxes? What will we need to do? I was on unemployment from April till October, paid taxes in. I've been hit hard.
Well, if you've already filed your taxes, you're on file with the IRS. They will base this stimulus check on your most recent tax returns. So they're going to look at that most recent tax return, and they're going to see, do you qualify based on that tax return? Now, again, this is not finalized, so I'm not giving you tax advice or anything, but what's going to happen is if you get less than what you're deserved because you made less money, etc., and you're basing it on these new tax returns, then you have to file an amendment or for next year. You'll get that credit back next year on your taxes. I know it's a long way to wait, but that's the way that the IRS was saying they were going to do that before. We'll wait to see what they say this time, though. And that's what they said last summer. If you don't get the amount you need, you get it as a tax credit on your next tax return.
Amanda Chisholm, $5.
So thank you for that question.
I was wanting to know if you had to pull all of your kids for the child tax credit, and if you sign up for it, can you cancel at any time?
Pull your kids. I don't know about that. Can you cancel the child tax credit? Why would you want to cancel the child tax credit? If you make under $200,000, you would qualify for the child tax credit. And 400 filing jointly, you get $3,600 per child. So why would you want to cancel that? I'm not quite sure I understand. But again, we're waiting on the IRS to find out this child tax credit question. And as I reported this morning, even the Washington Post talking about, we don't know the answer yet. We don't know the answer exactly how they're going to roll this out. So hopefully in the next 24 hours, we'll have some more details on this child tax credit thing. Is it going to be an online portal with the IRS that you can go there and update it? We don't know. Are they going to base it on your tax returns from last year? But what if you had a child in the meantime? Yeah, I'd want that $3,600. And you need it now. That's the whole reason of this temporary 1-year child tax credit. Not next year, it's now. So again, we should have more details on this in the next 48 hours, I hope.
Sherry Pfeiffer, new member, welcome. Denise Gibson, $53, $5. Because even at $15 an hour, it is not enough today, so incremental raises still keeps us in poverty.
Yeah, I hear you. And, I saw somebody else's super chat a minute ago, like Kristen, a pretty bipolar Gemini. I like that name, Kristen, a pretty bipolar Gemini. $9 super chat. She said, okay, so I have a few things that I need to say. The $15 an hour minimum wage would basically screw over people that work in the service industry. It will take away the majority of tipping. And she said, number 2, stimulus now, ASAP. I wonder how that would be. So how would the service industry, if you're getting a $15 an hour minimum wage, and if they have the tipping exemption in there, if it's like the base tip wage limit, I don't see how it would screw over the service industry. You think people are going to go out to eat and just know that you make $15 an hour and not tip you? Now, do you think, America's not going to reverse its course on tipping, right? That's a cultural thing that's not going to change. I don't know about you, David, but if I knew that a server working at a restaurant made $15 an hour, I'm still going to give them a tip if they give me great service.
Yeah, I wouldn't care.
Say,
out here in Oregon, the food industry is generally paid a minimum of $9.50 an hour plus tips, and people know that, and they still tip them. You can actually make a living out here that's why it's so competitive in the services industry, because people make decent money doing it.
Yeah, and then I don't know, like in Europe, they, it's considered like it's a profession, and they are paid a really good wage. And they don't do but they don't actually in Europe, like tipping is not a normal thing, I guess, in a lot of different areas. But it's paid like a really good wage. But service industry in the United States has not. It's notoriously been awful. I just don't think culturally Americans are going to suddenly stop tipping people for a good meal, and good service.
Daniel Caldwell, $5. What time is the House set to vote? Love the show, by the way. Watch it every day.
Thank you so much. Let me check on the schedule here. I have it in front of me. Here you can go to the next question while I dig up the House schedule.
And we got Emmanuel
today.
Phillip, new member. Dana Bell, new member. Stephanie Lick, new member.
Thank you for becoming a new channel member if you want.
Craig Tab, $2. The first EIDL grant. Brenda Henley, $5. Anything on the Social Security $200 raise or stimulus?
No, nothing on the $200 Social Security rate. I mean, that was something the Senate Democrats have been pushing for, but went nowhere under Republicans, unfortunately.
Anna Goog, 10,000 watching, only 500 likes. Let's get our favorite channel out there. Smash the like. We've got 3,500 likes, but still, we'll take them. Everybody like.
Smash the like button. Smash that like button.
Smash it.
Let's see here.
Gail Leclerc, $4.99. I was able to find out that yes, housing does count the extra unemployment benefits towards your rental income. Carolyn Wheeler, $5.
So,
why is the government forgetting about the seniors that are on Social Security? Why?
It's a great question. Why does anyone else get left behind? And you'd think like seniors is a big voting block too. Like, why isn't that more consideration? I don't know. Let me see here the schedule. House floor proceedings today. Okay, I believe it's at. Yeah, it's unfolding right now. Actually, bringing it to the floor today. So I just have to see like when they're going to bring the journal to the floor. Yeah. So you're asking about the House vote schedule today.
Brian Bang.
They're doing a roll call vote. But it's going to happen very, very shortly here.
Brian Bang, $4.99. Love the show. Save me a mug. Waiting on my stimulus. Hashtag.
Awesome. I will.
Monique Woods, $5. Hi Clayton, my news source. Why can't they place the $15 in the infrastructure bill?
Well, that's a great question, and they might try to. They also might. Andrea Saucy with your super chat says, "Do we think we will ever see a $2,000 recurring stimulus?" We could, as part of this infrastructure package. That's what I was reporting yesterday. I mean, we could actually see an infrastructure package that includes income inequality infrastructure in the United States. Would be fantastic. So, again, these are pieces that could come in, and we know that if it's upwards of $4 trillion, there's going to be huge sweeping pieces of legislation in this. Will it all just be roads and bridges and electrical battery charging stations? No. I think we could see a lot in this.
Kevin Snyder, $1. Thank you. Benjamin, $2. Thanks for the daily updates. Hello, everyone.
You're welcome for the daily updates. Thank you, Benjamin. That's my middle name and my grandfather's name, Clayton Benjamin Morris. And my son's middle name, by the way.
Stephanie Maxwell, $4.99. Whatever happened to the Social Security $200 boost?
Yeah, it died quietly. Senate Democrats were trying to team up to increase Social Security benefits by $200 per month, and would help older, disabled Americans. But basically, you had a competing bill, which was McConnell, of course, that wanted to give employers a break on their FICA taxes, which would basically diminish any of Social Security funds that exist. So there was like, Democrats wanted to increase the amount people got for Social Security, and then Republicans wanted to give employers a break on their FICA taxes, and that would take money out of the Social Security Trust Fund, basically. So basically, it exploded.
Niraj, $5 sticker. Good job. Thank you. Garthman03, $5. Hey, Clayton, I have an appointment with CPA late today to file. The UI forgiveness would wipe out all of my UI taxes. Should I reschedule?
The UI forgiveness would wipe out all of my taxes. Well, I would talk with the CPA. I wouldn't cancel your appointment. I would bring up your concerns, let them know, about the $10,000, $200 unemployment, $10,200 unemployment tax credit, and ask them their advice. Say, look, I know I have this available to me. I make less than $150,000. I would not have to pay these taxes. Can we file that? And ask if that's their advice. Also ask them, like, should I delay my taxes until this bill passes? I bet they'll be impressed with you. Like, wow, you're really up on your news. So ask them about that credit. Ask them about whether or not you should delay filing your taxes, because if the IRS is going to base your tax return on last year's taxes and you stand to make more in a stimulus benefit or otherwise, you may want to delay those taxes for a few weeks. So yeah, have that discussion with your CPA, but I wouldn't cancel the appointment.
Miss Ruth, $2. Thank you. Dora Carpenter with $5. Jamie Zinsky, $4.99. Thanks for giving us a no BS take on the news. You are a lifesaver and the only reliable source for news.
Oh, much love to you. Thank you so much. You're so sweet.
Brizzy864, $5. Thank you for all of the information you provide. I made a bet that I would get my taxes before I got my next stimulus, and I won. Bet for $50.
Good bet.
Shelly Durnell.
That's amazing. You got your refund before the next stimulus.
That's crazy.
Of course.
Shelly Durnell, $5. Why is there a delay to swear in officially Merrick Garland?
That's a good question. I mean, they drag their feet. The thing is, like, Josh Hawley was dragging his feet on every one of these appointments. Then they had a break. Then they also had the stimulus to pass in the Senate. So all of those things got held up. And that's the thing, about trying to walk and chew gum at the same time. Chuck Schumer talked about being able to walk and chew gum at the same time. And guess what? It's not as easy as it looks. So hopefully some of this stuff will get fast-tracked here in the next few days.
Shelly Durnell. Oh, sorry, did that one. India, $4.99. If I claim dependent on 2020 taxes, but in 2021 other parent will claim child, will I need to repay stimulus?
No. Again, ask your CPA, but as far as I know, there's no repayment of stimulus. You're not having to send money back to the IRS.
Ronald Shirley, new member.
Dependent on 2020 taxes. I just want to think your question through a little bit more, because I'm not sure I have all the information I need. But if I claim that I'm a dependent on 2020 taxes, but in 2021 other parent will claim the child, will I need to repay the stimulus? No, I mean, if it was legit that you claimed it at the time and it was true, you're not gonna have to repay. The IRS I can't imagine, come after you for that, because it was true at that time, and now it's a different year, and it's being claimed differently in a new tax year. So, if I understand your question correctly, you have no issue to worry about here.
Ronald Shirley, new member, welcome. Craig Tab, $5. The EIDL in CARES states anyone approved gets full $10,000, but SBA illegally changed it to $1,000 per employee. We are owed the sum, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, now they revised it. So now you can, like, that's what I said. They initially changed it to $1,000 per employee, but then they revised it. So now you should be able to apply and get the full amount. So if you haven't already done that, you should be able to, like, if you got 2,000 and you thought you should get 8, you can now go and apply and get the full amount.
Anthony Lee, $5 sticker. Kristen, a pretty bipolar Gemini, never got a shout out when I became a new member. Well, welcome. I didn't see it in there. I had H&R Block do my taxes. You get screwed from receiving unemployment. They have you leave your paperwork and don't ask you important questions. Pissed.
It's awful. And by the way, see another one from Kristen, a pretty bipolar Gemini. Thank you so much. She says, that was the point I was trying to make. I'm not saying they'd stop tipping, just maybe not as much. She said, I didn't get rent utility assistance. Electricity was shut off. Must be nice to be a millionaire. That's awful, Kristen. I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, this rental utility assistance, again, passed in December. Where the F is it? Why shouldn't we, should we not be pounding our fists asking that question? It's now March. You passed it in December. Kristen has had her electricity shut off. The whole point of $25 billion in the last, emergency bill that was passed before Christmas was to help people like Kristen. And it could have, if you guys would have gotten your act together in DC. Oh, but you can pass a massive defense budget and get billions of dollars out to, countries all over the world. You can build bombs like crazy. You build new aircraft like crazy. But to help Kristen keep her electricity from being shut off, you can't do that, can you? That's infuriating to me.
Charlotte Heron, member, new, welcome to Gold. Andrea Saucy, $4.99. Do you think we will really ever see 2,000 in reoccurring stimulus?
Oh, I kind of already answered that one. I combined hers with another question on infrastructure. But yeah, I think it could be part of the infrastructure bill, as I mentioned. So there are Democratic senators calling for $2,000 recurring stimulus as part of the next COVID bill, the next Build Back Better program, which will be the infrastructure bill.
Kevin Snyder, $1. Thank you. Armed Troop 1, $4.99. Good morning, Clayton, David, and Glover. It's Grover, but hey, close enough. I love Danny Glover.
I know sometimes people type Glover. Or sometimes people type Rover, R-O-V-E-R. I mean, how generic would I have to be to name my dog Rover? Right? I mean, that's like the most generic dog name ever.
Will,
thank
203.
you. No, I'm sure it was a typo, but
yeah, it usually is. Welcome to supporter. Thank you. Shelly Durnell, $5. Why is Republican cares concerning stimulus bill keep being discussed if it's a reconciliation bill? I thought Dems were going without repubs.
Good question, Shelly. Exactly the point I was making yesterday when I was railing against Joe Manchin for talking about how he wants to make sure that Republicans have a voice at the table. I mean, it's Joe Manchin. That's it. It's Kristen Sinema. It's Democrats. By the way, Kristen Sinema used to be a Green Party member. I mean, how do you go from that to like this middle of the road wanting to kowtow to Republicans, Democrat? I mean, again, here are the Democrats that voted against the $15 an hour minimum wage. These are all Democrats, except for Senator Angus King, an independent. They're all Democrats. They're kowtowing to Republicans. I don't know why they want them to have a seat at the table. They lost an election. You want Mitch McConnell to have a seat at the table? I don't.
Barbara Burke, $5. If I want to send and show off pics of my grandbabies, how can I send them to you, Clayton, and help show them off with me on the show?
Barbara, yeah, just send them to our main inbox for any photos that you have with, if you've bought yourself one of our hoodies or any of that, and you take a picture of yourself with in our store, like you got one of our mugs or Grover mugs or sweatshirts or anything like that, just send an email with you in the sweatshirt or you with the mug to team@morninginvest.com. Team, T-E-A-M. Please send it there. Team@morninginvest.com. And my assistant will go through and pull those in, and we'll be able to put those on the show. And send your pets too. Like, I know we have a separate pet one now, but for some reason something's tricky with that inbox. So pet photos, grandbabies, merch photos, anything like that. Okay? That's how you do it.
Jen and Jackson, new member, welcome. Kristen, a pretty bipolar Gemini. We already answered that one. Oops, it just jumped way down.
I think I read them underneath you here. Kamal?
Yeah.
Kamal Mall says, I love you guys, and there's nothing you can do about it. Have a great day. Thank you, Kamal. I love you, man. That's awesome.
Aaron
There's
Hunt,
nothing you can
$2.
do about it.
Morning fam, loving the tunes and vibe.
Good morning, Aaron. Thank you.
Shaka Wilson with the $20 super chat. Thank you. What about FHA mortgage housing assistant extensions?
Well, the moratoriums, I think the moratorium continues through July. I think, unless it's the, remember, this is not part of the COVID bill. This was signed as an extension by executive action when President Biden signed it in mid. I was right. Okay, it's June 30th. No, wait. Yes. June 30th. So borrowers may enroll in a forbearance until June 30th, and then up to 6 months of mortgage forbearance in 3-month increments. So you have up until So you have until June 30th to apply for that. Unfortunately, the eviction moratorium wraps up on March 31st.
Cher Marie, $5. I paid some of my unemployment taxes last year. If I get tax credit, will this tax be refunded to me?
It should be. I paid some of my unemployment taxes last year. If I get the tax credit, will the tax be refunded to me? Yes. But you got to make sure you file it properly. Are you doing it yourself? Make sure that you know that you have $10,200 available to you. If you are for the first $10,200, you will not have to pay taxes on. So if you paid taxes on any of that money, now you have this tax credit that you can use. Make sure you take advantage of it. Make sure, whether it's through the IRS website or however you're filing your taxes with TurboTax, talk to one of their TurboTax Live people. They have that feature now. They've been a sponsor of the show. Whoever you're working with, make sure they're aware of this tax credit so you don't get screwed on it, okay? Share.
The Alert Cool with a $5 and then a $4 super chat. Thank you so much. Kevin Snyder, $2. What happened to hazard pay for those of us working?
Good question. I mean, well, that's where the state and local government money in too. That's one of the benefits of this COVID relief bill is the state and local money. And when the problem is, we don't know when the implementation of that money will come out. Again, I mentioned it on the show today. State and local child tax credit money and rental assistance. Like, that's the question. When will this money be dispersed?
The illustrative cart.
I would also mention, I should mention that a lot of your state and local governments have hazard pay. So all these different municipalities, like King County out in Washington State, like they just approved a $4 an hour hazard pay for workers in King County. So all of these different counties across the country have different hazard pay scenarios. So I would definitely contact your local county board and find out what's available to you in your state, because it might be in addition to or totally separate from what's going on at the federal level.
The illustrative carp, $4.99. People help us out of poverty. Congress, capitalism, and corporate America. Nah. David Krillin,
corporate America's really served us well, doesn't it?
Yeah, really has. Talking tax, $5. I make $11.75 an hour, which is the Maryland minimum. I still get great tips at Domino's as a delivery driver.
Yeah, so even higher than that. And I think what Kristen was saying earlier, she was worried that the people might not tip as much if they increase minimum wage. I just don't see that happening. Kristen, I appreciate the disagreement in beliefs, but I just can't see it. I don't know. Like if you go to Red Lobster and now that the employee there is making more than, I don't know how much people make. I don't know if you're making what you're making. I'm just going to tip based on the service I get, you know, and feel.
Derek Eads, $5. I thought the Dems have all the power. Why can't the Dems pass the $15 an hour through the reconciliation process?
Yeah, good question. They could have. That was my point today. They could have passed it. And they still have an opportunity today to try to add an amendment to pass it. Screw the parliamentarian. Who cares about an unelected staff member? Pass minimum wage. Do it.
Well, and they made everybody believe, that was part of their whole campaign, was making people believe that if they won in Georgia and they won all these seats, that the Republicans wouldn't matter. And turns out that was not true.
Yep.
Especially when you've got Republicans in the Democratic Party.
Especially when you have like Joe Manchin wanting to kowtow to Republicans, or he is a Republican, so showing his true zebra stripes.
Jashura Smith, $2. Thank you. Crystal Lambert, $5. Go Jackson Hewitt. They called and told me about being able to add last year's income on this year's. I got over 5,000 back. Would have been 400.
Way to go, Crystal. Okay, so Jackson Hewitt helped her out. That's good. That's high praise. I love, it's a company that's being proactive. Like, they called you. That's fantastic.
Sashu Wells, member, welcome. Karen Eyes Dope, $4.99. How can I become a member? I don't see the join button anywhere. Will this new stimulus be sent out the same as previous, or with 2020 tax deposit info?
Whatever your most recent tax return is on file with the IRS, it should be based on that. Now, bear in mind, like if you send in your taxes on Friday and the stimulus bill passes on Monday or Sunday, President Biden signs it and they start implementing it, it might not be on file with the IRS just yet. So they might still pull from your last year's. But if many of you have gotten in your taxes over the past few weeks, they're going to pull from that most recent tax return. And then Karen, I think it's Karen is dope. Karen says, how can I become a member? Can you let her know how to become a member? It's very easy to just go morninginvest.com/join, but there's a button there, isn't there?
There should be, but it depends. Sometimes if you're in, I don't know if you're in the United States, there are some places that there's some places that aren't allowed. So yeah, just look on the, go up to the top right and click your icon, and then on the to the channel. Go to our main channel, and you should see a join button right there. If you're on iOS, it can be kind of funky to get to. So it's easier on desktop, and you guys can join even if you're not during the show, if you just come to the channel page. Hey, someone just bought a Grover mug. Saw that in the chat there.
Awesome. Sweet.
Alonzo
Grover,
Chase. Welcome. C4 Streets member, welcome. Henny Snyder, $5. I filed my taxes almost 4 weeks ago. Still haven't received it. Did they start refunds in NYC?
Filed my tax almost 4 weeks ago, still haven't received it. Did they start refunds in New York City? I don't know. Is it New York City or New York State? Does anyone else from New York City in the chat today? I used to live in New York City, but I don't live there anymore. So I can't answer that question for you.
Delois Grant, $4.99. It was the seniors who got the vote out for the 2 senators in Georgia, but still no help for us.
Nancy Dubin says, oh, the House vote is delayed just now, huh? Is the House vote delayed? Thank you, Nancy. Debate.
Must be lunchtime. Must be good. Need to go get some margaritas.
Well, we got a Senate amendment that just...
Melanie, new member. Welcome.
The House proceeded with 2 hours of debate on the motion to concur in the Senate amendment to H.R. 11319. Thank you, Nancy.
Mert R, $5. Check out WVA governor. He tore into Joe Manchin yesterday. West Virginia governor.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
Jessica Persifield, $5. January 1st, 2021, our minimum wage went up to $11 here in Illinois.
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to get the House to adjourn. Good old Marjorie Taylor Greene. She tried to get. She called for it. It's going to fail. 11 Republicans have already voted against it. So, motion to adjourn. She's basically just trying to drag her feet on this so that the House can't vote on. I mean, way to go, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Your constituents aren't hurting. You don't want the House to pass a stimulus bill. What are you doing?
The
You have
last
11
hero.
Republicans that are like, come on.
The last hero, $2. Will this bill pass? Been out of the loop.
Yes, it will. It's going to pass today at some point. If you don't have any more Marjorie Taylor Greenes trying to pull parliamentary chicanery by trying to get a motion to adjourn. But yes, it's going to pass today. It'll go to the president's desk once they print it on this like special type of paper. I know it's ridiculous, but that's what it does. They have to print it on a special paper that then they deliver over to the White House, and then he'll sign it. So if they get it done today, maybe they could fast track it and get it done by Friday, signed by the president, but we'll see.
Dale Bear, new member, welcome. Carter Drew, $5. The vibe and the authenticity of your show is always on point. Love the instrumentals too. Hashtag dynamic duo. A blessed worshiper, $5. I filed my 2020 taxes already, but was on unemployment since June and got taxed on federal and state. How do I get those taxes back with this credit?
Well, you need whoever is preparing your taxes. If you're doing it yourself, or if you're using like a Jackson Hewitt or H&R Block, talk to them about it. But you could also, if you're using like an e-filing system, there should be a way in that e-filing system for you to claim that credit based on your overall income tax returns. So I'm not sure how all that software works. I use a CPA. But please contact your CPA and make sure that you get that credit back this year. It might have to be an amendment if you've already filed your taxes. We had another member earlier ask that very question. I think it was Cher asked that question. So yes, you want to take advantage of that.
Then we got Vicky Hess and Vicky Holt and Michael Cabral, new members. Welcome. Thank you so much. And then our last super chat, Taylor Niles, $4.99. Hey, didn't student loan debt get extended? They took my state taxes toward student loan debt.
Student loan debt being extended. Are you
Maybe
talking
deferred?
about the student loan repayment, the student loan forgiveness. It was extended under executive action. I think it goes through. And they have to be federal. Let's see. What's the grace period here? I'm not seeing it. You gave me a hard one here at the end. Well, because we
did get somebody that
we
responded.
have executive actions.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say somebody, Tremble Dust, $5. I'm in Brooklyn, New York, and I received my Fed refund about 2 weeks ago and my state last week. So there's your answer to the New York question.
Great. Okay, so yes, the student loan payments are suspended through, let's see, what is the date? Oh, through September 30th. That's right. I wasn't sure if it was August or September. So it is, President Biden had signed that executive order a few weeks ago. It's not in the COVID bill. It's separate executive action. They are suspended through September 30th.
But that's only federal, correct?
Yeah.
I think that's an important thing to mention, just because some people might think that when you hear them talking about student loan debt, it only applies to federal loans. What is it, Fred? Is that Freddie? That's not Fannie or Mac and whatever. That's housing, right? What is the federal student loan?
Oh boy, that's a student loan. Federal student, it's a national, I think it's a federal student loan. I forget the name of the agency. Is it under it's under the Department of Education. So it's under the Department of Education under their studentloan.gov portal. If I'm not, anyway, it's under the Department of Education. I don't know the exact agency or the name of it. For me, it was, I forget even the names of the loans I used to have. I used to have those federal student loans. What were they? They were the, I can't remember the name of it. It's been so long. Anyway, they're extended through, it was set to expire just a few weeks ago, but then President Biden extended it through the end of September 30th with 0% interest rates. So, you know, and that's good. I mean, it's an opportunity for you to make progress in those areas without derailing the rest of your budget right now. It's a good time to apply some special additional right now to your higher interest credit cards. Like if you've got some, if you know you don't have to pay student loans right now, you know, you could zero in on some of those higher interest credit cards debt and other debts that you have right now while you have this moratorium on paying back student loans. So it's an opportunity for you to get your finances in order. And think about the average credit card rate. It's like 14%. So remember, you're just trading one financial product for another. So if you've got one that's 0% interest right now and it's held off until September, I would not be wasting my money on that right now. I would be going after those high interest credit cards or those other big debts that you have, which can help your credit score tremendously.
Shelley Durnell, $5. What are they debating on? I thought they passed it by the Senate, so if they don't like, there will be more delays, correct?
Well, they could add amendments. So anytime there's an amendment brought before the floor, which is what Bernie Sanders tried to do in the Senate. He tried to bring an amendment for the $15 an hour minimum wage. They had a separate vote for that, where you had these Democrats coming out and voting against it. Right. So they could add amendments, and we'll see if like a Cori Bush or, AOC or anybody wants to come to the floor and push for a $15 minimum wage being added back into this thing. They have to get a number of votes for it. So there could be amendments that could be delayed. It's not clear sailing. But then you had Marjorie Taylor Greene wanting to just adjourn. She's like, hey, I want to go to lunch.
People are saying it's FAFSA.
FAFSA.
Is the
FAFSA. Federal.
Yeah. And then we got Karen Van Wyck and Stacy Siosik, our new members. Welcome. And that's all of our super chats and members. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for an awesome show today. We'll be back tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern time with an update and hopefully the passage of this House bill tonight. So join us. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe and turn on that little bell notification so you get a little notification that'll pop down right on the top of your screen if you're on an iPhone or Android to let you know that we're live. So jump on in and join our great community here. Love having everyone who joins us. Thanks to everyone and all of our new channel members today. And Stacy Koisik was our final channel member. You rounded out the day, Stacy. So much love to all of you. Do not forget, everyone, that if you want to get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,800 right now. I saw many of you took advantage of this yesterday, and I gave you my little trick, which is open your Webull account and then get the 2 free stocks. You have to deposit $100 into the account, but you're not losing $100. You're just putting money into the account to activate it. They give you 2 free stocks. Then convert those stocks to crypto. Move it over and buy Bitcoin with it. Sell those stocks, and now you've got crypto. You can buy Ethereum. You can do other things with that money. So you're getting 2 free stocks just for opening that account. So go to morninginvest.com/Webull to take advantage of those 2 free stocks. Yes, the first stock might be $4. One stock might be $50. I've heard people getting $250, $1,000, and they're entered in for a chance to win those Starbucks, Google, Facebook, and Apple stocks as well. But hey, even if you get one stock that's only $4, that's $4 you didn't have, and it's free. So convert that to crypto. Let it work for you. Anyway, much love to all of you. We'll see you back here tonight, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for a wonderful show. And Grover says, thanks, everyone. It's a rough morning. Peace out.